You never want to hide anything. God forbid
It's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah, of course. Or you have small kids, or God forbid there's a leak. You don't want to sell a product like that to a family.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I mean, unless you have the worst heart ever. But our intentions on these flips, and Omar will tell you.
Yeah.
We say it all the time. Make sure that you would put your own family to live in this home. It should be safe.
Right.
And that's why everything should be done by permits and the city.
Welcome to the RE-MIX, the video podcast that keeps you in the mix of everything real estate. I'm Noelle Frieson.
And I'm Eric Anderson. And today we're going to talk about things you can do, seller renovations that you can do that will make you money. So money. So if you want to sell your house, right? Everybody's worried about the market today. Is it going down? Is it going up? Wherever it's going. What seller renovations can you do that are going to make you money? So let's talk about our power panel.
Or if you have a client that wants to sell their house.
Or if you have a client that wants to sell their house.
What
We're
you
going to
should
cover
be
it all
consulting
today.
them on. So yes, our power panel, as always, we have the handsome, the smart, the wonderful, the debonair.
Wow.
Omar Sharif.
I thought you were talking about me for a second. I don't know.
He is the VP of Alexander Anderson Capital Group. He is our expert flipper. We have Adam Sperber, again, the most wonderful real estate agent in the world. He is in the top 2%, was it? 1%? It's the top percent.
Yeah. It's something top.
Of all of the East Coast. And
the world.
Adam Sperber is the VP of Residential at Alexander Anderson Real Estate Group. And then, as a special guest today, we have Danny Gonzalez. You guys have loved him. He's been on the podcast before. He is a construction consultant with Danny Builds Homes. Now, he knows everything. He is down to earth. He will give it to you straight. And let's hop into this.
He knows everything about construction.
I know everything about everything.
There you go. Okay.
Let's hop into it.
As a group together, we know everything.
We almost know everything. Or Noelle knows everything. And my wife. But anyway, so we're really excited today to talk about seller renovations. We're going to talk about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. We're going to talk about what brings you the most money. We're going to talk about do it yourself or not do it yourself. We're going to talk about all that good stuff. So let's start out, Omar. So since you've been a big flipper, and you've done a lot of renovation projects where you've actually had to take a building that or a house that needed work and figure out what the right things to do to make more money. What are the top 3 things or the top 3 projects that you can think about that someone should look at to increase the value of their sale?
I would definitely start with the kitchen. Kitchen sell homes. So an updated, renovated, great condition kitchen. Then just cosmetics. So good bathrooms, good flooring. Make sure the house is painted well. It shows well. And typically you want the house to give the impression that when the potential buyer walks in, they see themselves living there without any major work needing to be done.
Okay, so
big ticket items that would be kitchen, overall cosmetic, painting, flooring, and
bathroom.
Kitchen, flooring, bathroom. In what order? Which one's first?
Kitchen.
Kitchen first.
You have to cook.
Yep.
You also have to go to the bathroom.
You
have to cook, eat, and go to the bathroom. So Danny, give us an example of a kitchen renovation that you've had to come in and fix because somebody effed it up. So what I want to know is what were some of the things that did it do it yourself or do it? Did another contractor do it?
Oh, okay.
What did
you fix? What were your issues? Okay. So what are the most common kitchen mistakes that you've seen?
Well, most of the common kitchen mistakes that I've seen is people trying to install the cabinets themselves. Excuse me. And I understand that it looks easy, but it's not. I mean, everything has to be exact, precise. I've seen guys drill on the wrong side of the cabinets for the hardware. So when they go to pull it open, it's on the wrong side. Once you damage a cabinet, it's damaged.
Done.
That's
right.
it. So you have to, and it's not cabinet these days. A 30 by 18 cabinet, it's almost $300 something. Okay. So you make a mistake, it's not a small mistake, it's a large mistake.
Yeah.
So would you recommend a homeowner doing a DIY project for their kitchen?
I mean, yes and no. and I'll tell you this. I remember about 10 years ago, I was in Home Depot in Patterson, and I remember seeing this older lady, probably in her 60s, and she's looking for tiles, she's looking for this, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can help you. She's like, no, that's okay, honey. I did my entire renovation myself.
Good
and
for
she
her.
lived over here in Franklin Lakes, and I'm like, why would you do your? She goes, well, I'm a perfectionist. I like everything perfect, and a lot of these contractors don't do it the way I want to do. So she literally took on her whole renovation herself.
Okay.
I mean, obviously she probably studied into it, YouTube,
Sure.
but for someone who's looking to get their kitchen done with no experience, I would definitely hire a contractor.
Hire a contractor.
And back on your note, what you said about drilling on the wrong side, I didn't do it, but so we had a professional come in, a very reputable professional come in and install cabinets in our kitchen. And this was years ago. We spent, I don't know, $15,000 or $20,000 on just the cabinets. And when they were doing the doors, we had different style handles on different doors. He, in the middle of it, drilled it in and just looked at it and said, crap, I made a mistake. And it's not repairable. But because we had a professional doing it, they covered the cost. They got us a new door. They did everything.
Oh, nice.
So it didn't cost us anything. They just took an extra week or two for them to get the door in.
I mean, everybody makes mistakes, they say, but they always say measure twice, cut once. Obviously, the same thing goes for
I think Bob
everything else.
Vila used to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob Vila from This Old
Bob
House.
Vila.
So
This
we
Old
know
House. I grew up with that.
kitchens, bathrooms, got that. But what are some of the other things that you should update before you go to market? Like, what other things are people looking for? What things, if they're bad, that they're not going to want to buy the house?
Landscaping.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Really? You think
know
people
what?
should-
I was gonna
I'm not
say-
saying go crazy with it, but have, like, I'm a perfectionist outside, right? You know, I think that when they pull up, that's their first impression
Oh,
of the house.
absolutely.
And you can't make that impression again. It's one time.
Oh my God! So we're looking to sell my fiance's house, and he keeps on doing landscaping. And I told him just to leave it alone and hire someone. He's going to see this, and now he's going to tell me I'm wrong.
Well, what he said is absolutely right. If you pull up to the house, the first impression is everything. And I don't think you should go as nuts with the landscaping.
Correct.
But let's just say you have destroyed, grass. You have shrubs that are, me personally, I'd rip everything out. I'd put set a sod down, brand new sod, maybe a couple flowers, and that's it. You don't want to customize it to yourself because someone might not like that. Like my wife does not like flowers in the front of the house, not because she doesn't like how beautiful they are. She hates the bees.
Got it.
So it's like we'll have shrubs, we'll have different trees that don't attract the wildlife. But like you said, you're a perfectionist. I could imagine your grass, like there's probably not a leaf on it, but that's great because
Yeah, and that's it. Like, so that's my take is like when you pull up for the first time, you look at that, and even I'm not selling my house. But if somebody's driving down, you can only assume what the interior looks like based on the
From-
exterior.
Absolutely.
That's true.
It's that. But on the same side as landscaping, there's also, like, if your roof has moss on it, if it looks dirty, just get somebody in there inexpensively to clean it. Also the sidewalks.
yeah.
And
I give
stuff
a quick
like that.
tip when you're done. I just don't
So
want to
so let's,
Yeah, please.
let's
with the
let's
moss
focus-
real quick.
Yeah.
So there is something at Home Depot
Yeah.
that you can get for $38. You attach it to your hose, you spray your roof, you leave it, the rain washes it away, and like he says, the moss eats the roof, eats the shingles, destroys the sidewalk. But this is your home. You should take pride in it, especially as a seller or a homeowner or whatever the case is.
So moss on your roof is a simple do-it-yourself
Simple
project.
do it yourself. I
Okay.
mean, a lot of guys come, they power wash, they clean
Sure.
it. They're like, we'll spray this stuff on, we'll leave it. I'm like, wow, if you're gonna come and spray it on my roof and leave it,
Why can't I just do it?
do it myself?
Okay, so that's a good example of a DIY that a homeowner
Oh,
can actually
absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
So let's go back to landscaping for a second. Is that something you would recommend that a homeowner does themselves, or would you say hire a contractor?
Well, like you said, I mean, if you're going to look to sell the home and you've transformed this entire home and it's beautiful, but then you have landscaping that looks like crap, I would do a simple fix as the simple fix is always sod. You get
yes,
sod,
sure.
you clean
But
it
would
up.
you do it yourself, or
would
would
I do
you
it
hire a
myself? No, I
contractor?
would hire a landscaper.
You would hire
would hire
a
someone.
landscaper.
Not even because contractors could do it, but you know what? It's the profession of the landscaper.
Right.
I rather use them. Yeah, you're gonna pay a couple dollars extra.
And usually where you buy the supplies from, you can ask them to install it too. So it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Charles is asking, and this is something that I want to know. Does getting solar panels on your home potentially help your sale? Everyone, you see the ads, you see people talking about solar panels. Is that going to help actually sell your home?
Well, so talking about solar, there's two ways. There's leased panels and purchased panels. Leased panels, I think, are just a pain to deal with. So because you have to transfer the lease over or they have to remove them. So if you have leased panels on your house, those I'm not a fan of, especially when it comes time to sell.
Again, leasing means you don't own the panels.
Correct.
You're letting
You're
someone
renting
else.
And you get like a discounted rate on the electricity or something like that, depending on how your
And
contract
the reason
is.
people lease is because it's a lower cost
Correct.
to get them on.
And there's nothing up front.
Right.
Typically. If you own panels, do I think that owning panels, it could cost you $30,000, $40,000 easy
Really?
to put panels on.
Okay.
It could be expensive depending on the size of your house. Do I think you're going to get $40,000 out of it? No. But do I think it's going to potentially make your home sell a little bit quicker? In my opinion, it's a nice thing that says, oh, and there's solar panels. It's one of those things that helps it move quicker, but I don't think you're going to get your money back for that.
It also depends where the solar panels are. If they're put right on the front of the roof, a lot of times those are ugly.
Exactly. So if they're on the back or something like that, then that's a huge thing because you can't see it from the street.
Right.
Like you said, they're very expensive. My PSEG bill, obviously with the whole new ecosystem, insulating, and I've never spent that much. I don't think in 40 years I can spend 40 grand.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally don't think solar panels add any value to a home as far as the sale. And I know Omar,
Yeah, I haven't seen a case where it does add value.
I think maybe the new Tesla panels,
Yeah.
which have come out recently, I've seen them on a couple houses. They actually look like shingles. That may add value because it's so easy. It just blends right in, and it's more like a smart home type scenario. But that's still new. I don't know if that's really factored into a lot of home
And they're
sales yet.
expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're 50, 75% more expensive than regular panels.
Okay. But so I wouldn't do solar panels
If you're looking to sell.
if I'm looking to sell. If I'm looking to do it as an investment for a long-term project, maybe.
Yeah.
But so let's go back to the kitchen. Omar, what in the kitchen are the major upgrades that you feel should be done?
So right off the bat, cabinets, granite countertops, appliances, flooring. Pretty much if you're doing all of that, you might as well redo the whole kitchen at that point.
Okay.
So cabinets, granite countertop, if you're pulling the cabinets out, you might as well redo the floors. Appliances are easy upgrade.
If
And
you were able to with your kitchen, should you make it open concept? Should you be knocking down walls?
if it works for the flow, if you're connecting the living room with the kitchen, sure. I did that to my house recently. But yeah, if it's an older layout, then opening it up makes a huge.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Opening up a kitchen. Everybody understands what opening up a kitchen is. Opening up the
Open
wall.
layout, that beautiful
So-
open concept that everyone's talking about
So
nowadays.
Danny, as a DIY person who can maybe handle the cabinets and maybe handle the flooring, because it's just like Legos, right? But what do you do when you're opening up walls? Is that something that a homeowner should do on their own?
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
You would definitely get a licensed carpenter.
So what are the reasons that a homeowner shouldn't do something like that?
Oh, it's a support wall. So now you have to build. So you basically want to open up. So you're taking the support off the walls to make it an open concept, putting up floating beams. You have to build temporary wall to support it. Then you have to get the columns up. You have to get your joist hangers. I mean, it's a lot of work.
So first you have to determine if it's a structural wall.
If it's structural wall, and most of the time it is.
And
Okay.
I think just for everyone out there, no matter what wall you take down in your home, you want to make sure that it's not.
I think it depends on the level of your expertise. So some people like me, I can almost tell 100% what a structural
Can
wall
you?
is.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
like
Okay.
80%. I'm sure there's things that I'm going to miss because I'm not
You
educated
figure a
in that.
bedroom wall, you know where most of the support is, like you
Right.
said. I mean,
Yeah.
a closet wall, wall to the bathroom because it's.
I'm just saying, don't
Yeah.
take a sledgehammer and
of
start
course.
knocking down
No, of course,
walls.
because now
Right.
your second floor, your first floor starts to cave.
It'll be a
Right.
ranch.
Yeah.
You'll take
Yeah.
You'll make it a
Hey,
ranch.
listen, ranch sell. Don't ranches move quicker on the market?
Well,
though?
no, they devalue. That will devalue your home.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
but I mean, you need architectural plans. You need it, to, when you're opening up this open concept. So
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
you might have electricity and vents running through the wall.
Right.
Okay.
And that makes it real complicated.
So then definitely don't add or open up a structural wall, or don't expand a kitchen into other rooms without doing a consult with an engineer or bringing in a contractor.
Yeah.
That's a no for you.
and well, the city. I
Okay.
mean, if you're opening anything up, support, you have to have architectural plans. And
Okay.
as a homeowner, as a single family homeowner, you're allowed to draw your own architectural plans, pull your own
Right.
permits. We discussed that before, but regardless, I would get a professional.
Okay.
you know, and same thing at the same time is when you submit these permits, a lot of people are like, well, I could submit it as a homeowner. But now the building inspector, the electrical, the plumbing inspector, they're checking the work a little more intense because you're inexperienced.
Right.
You know, and technically you're supposed to do the work,
Right.
not the contractor. So if you're gonna have the contractor do the work, just have the contractor use his license, so that way you're covered anyway.
So you're saying even in some cases the homeowners are pulling the permit and then they're subbing out the
They're
job.
subbing out the job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're giving them to other people, not them, that are actually doing the work, and that.
Technically, you're not supposed to do that.
Okay.
You're supposed to be doing the work yourselves. You know, because then they start to ask you, oh, well, what'd you do here? I don't know. You go ask this guy, and it's like, well, I thought you did
Right.
the work. The reason we give that is because if you know how to do it,
Okay.
we allow the homeowner to do it.
So Omar also brought up electric and plumbing. So
Yeah.
how many cases? Obviously, that, and if you're doing a kitchen renovation, there's a ton of electric, there's a ton of plumbing, especially.
Yeah.
Are those areas that you would tackle as a homeowner or not?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll tell you. Elmar's been
It gets
around a lot.
complicated.
We've been around a lot. And to this day, I still fail on plumbing codes. I mean, I know most of the codes, but everything looks the same.
Okay.
They're like, why did you use a Y instead of a T? A T-trap goes here, clean out goes here. And you're like, what?
Okay.
So I would leave it to the professionals.
And then at the end of the day, you could hurt yourself with
absolutely.
electrical.
With electricity.
I've shocked myself thinking, and let me tell you, we did a quick condo flip about 8 years ago, right? In the Heights in Patterson, Garrett Mountain. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about too. All the homeowner needed was a little paint, maybe update something, and they could, you know, but they leave it for us and us fellow flippers. We love that because it's a quick turnaround. But so I'm in the kitchen and I'm taking off the outlets on one of the GFIs, and my friend goes, just shut the power. And I'm like, who cares? It's like, whatever. I ended up, it was 220 instead of 120. So God forbid I touched that. I would have been shocked and probably dead.
And
But
you wouldn't be here today.
I wouldn't be here, absolutely. Because even a guy as big as me, it would have knocked me on my back. So, I mean, people, you never know what you're going into.
Got it.
I mean, behind those walls, it can be anything. And look, something as simple as, I'll get shocked, it would have killed me.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
We like you. So
Yeah, thanks.
We do. So,
Glad.
so Omar, with the kitchen renovation,
Yeah.
what's the value added? So a new kitchen versus an old kitchen, obviously there's degrees of kitchen finishings.
Yeah.
But how much value do you think that will add to your house?
The kitchen is probably the one room that'll sell the house. So if I was to renovate a house to flip it, I would focus all my attention on the kitchen above everything else.
Okay. So are we talking?
In terms of value, I mean, you can increase the value of a house. I mean, this is assuming the rest of the house is neutral, right? You can't have a dump of a house and a nice kitchen.
Sure.
Assuming the house is neutral, it's in move-in condition, and you upgrade the kitchen, you can easily add random number, 40, 50 grand to it.
what you put into
Yeah.
it. So let's say you put 30, 40 grand into the kitchen.
Even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you gonna? So rule of thumb, if you put in 20, you're gonna get 40.
You'll get your money back for sure, plus some.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So
And the other thing I wanted to mention about the kitchen too is a lot of people, so let's say you have older wood cabinets, but they're in great shape. Maybe they're just an odd color or something like that. You can always resurface them. Don't paint them yourself. I've seen people do that and you see the strokes. It looks horrible. Just hire somebody. It's a lot, from my experience, from what I've seen, it's a lot less expensive. It could be, I don't know, a third or something like that, where they take the cabinets, they actually resurface them professionally and spray them, and it looks good. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it's not going to be as good as new cabinets. But then if you're just looking to sell the house, people are just going to see, oh, wait, they're white cabinets, they're in great shape, and that's it.
Right.
And that's really what you need. You just need to get past that initial stage.
so
And
that
like you said- oh, sorry, not to cut you off, but no, Adam's actually right. Resurface them. Obviously, you don't do them yourself, but you really can't tell the difference. And it was funny you mentioned that because I saw something on an Airbnb, and I'm like, wow, recently done. And I go look it up, and I'm like, I see the older cabinets, and I'm like, oh, it's the same exact layout. Then you start to notice, you throw in quartz, you throw in backsplash, you're like, wow, this is the same exact kitchen. They just painted it.
And hardware,
Yeah, and hardware.
Hardware.
which is
it.
relatively inexpensive.
And somebody, like you said, something like an Airbnb, they probably spent a third of the cost and redid the whole kitchen. Would you know Well, you would know the difference, but would somebody else know?
And especially
I
in
just looked-
pictures, when you
yeah.
see it on Zillow or you see it online.
So I
It's a
saw
big
like
difference.
custom, cabinet was here to the left. They had this, they had the lazy Susan. I'm like, wow, like it actually called me. I'm like, that's the same exact kitchen.
That
They
was
just
good.
resurfaced it. So someone else wouldn't know.
Yeah.
They would just be like, whoa, this is beautiful, brand new cabinets.
So that actually brings up a great question that I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
How often or how does a DIY project versus hiring a professional contractor, how does that affect a buyer's perspective? So when someone's walking into that house, do they actually notice, like, hey, this kitchen was done by the guy that lived here, who obviously is a librarian, and no offense to librarians, but never did a kitchen renovation,
Sure.
or a contractor? What have you seen, and how does that affect it?
Well, so it depends on what level. So you have, when, not saying anything bad about flips, but, sometimes flips, the idea behind a flip is to do it relatively inexpensive so you can maximize your profit. So a lot of times when people come into a house, and you can tell pretty easily if it was a flip, because you can check on the market. You can see, okay, it was just sold 6 months ago and now it looks
Right.
different. So when you have a flip, a lot of people, are a little bit, they can be sometimes hesitant to that, because they know that, like, look, if I'm doing my own kitchen and I'm paying for it out of my own pocket, and I'm going to live there, I'm going to use the best of the best, because I know I'm going to be there for 20, 30 years. A flip, essentially they want to sell. And I'm not bashing flippers. Sorry.
No, oh, no.
But your idea, your goal is to maximize profit.
Oh, absolutely.
So, it's kind of like a different mindset. But yes, so you can go into a house and you can see whether it was DIY or professionally done, because there's little things you can pick up on, whether it's the molding and things like that. Like, a professional knows what they're doing. Me, I pick up a saw and I learn how to do it using YouTube.
Right.
I don't do this every day. I do this once or twice in my life, and that's it.
So I think the goal is to try to figure out, like, someone like Noelle, who just bought a house. Noelle doesn't necessarily have the same eye for construction that I do, or the flippers do, or
Sure.
you do. So
You'd be
could you
surprised.
tell what was a DIY project versus what a contractor
I
project
wasn't
was?
looking. I wasn't looking, and I didn't really care.
Why didn't you care? Because you just wanted the house?
I wanted the house, but also I knew you guys will see, because Eric did the walkthrough and we taped it, so you're guys at some point gonna be able to see the walkthrough of the house. But the upstairs kitchen, I was like, we're gonna get rid of this, or at least I want to get rid of this, right? There are certain things that I was like, this is just gonna be completely changed, so I don't care what happened.
As long as you like the
Question:
bones.
Right.
Did you love the home?
I did.
That's
I
all
fell
that
in
matters.
love.
That's it.
I fell in
whether
love.
the contractor,
I
the homeowner did it. I see it as, if you love the home, even if you love the structure, let's say you're going to update it later, you have the vision to see what you want in the future.
I
So
was
you-
happy though about some of the finishes that she did in the bathroom, and that I didn't notice when we bought the house. I'm noticing it now. Like, I'm like, oh, I love this shower head, or things like
Sure.
I saw that look. There are little things that I'm like, oh, it's a nice quality. It's nice and heavy. I like it, like things
We're
like
still
that.
talking about the shower head?
We're talking about some of the finishes, but
It's a nice shower head.
it's a nice shower head.
That's the thing. People go and they, she lived there.
Right.
So she catered to what she liked. And
Right.
instead of buying contractor packs, she probably bought the most expensive one that she loved, because she goes, this is my house.
Correct.
Now they're not going to take it with them, so you get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But that brings me to my question. Does it pay to buy, if you're redoing something, those higher end finishes? Are people going to select the house? Is this going to make or break it when you have really nice finishes, really nice?
Is it like a $400,000 house or a $5 million house? Because if you're doing a $5 million house and you put in like a Home Depot vanity,
They
you-
know.
They know.
They know.
You have
They
to
know.
use high end things in that type of house. But if it's a $500,000 house, you can, obviously you're not going to put in a top end super expensive vanity, because you're just going to waste money on it. You can put in a less expensive one, and you can go a little bit less expensive on something like that, as long as it looks nice. As long as it has that initial appeal, looks nice, then they're going to be okay with it, because they're going to change some of that stuff. They're going to change the shower head at some point.
Right.
They're going to say, I don't like this one. I want to put in a nicer one.
So would you agree that most of your buyers are like Noelle? They're just walking in and they're instantly falling in love or falling in hate, and then they don't notice the things? Or do they catch that on like the second time when they go back? Or
They catch it more once the inspector comes in.
But at that point,
It's
it's, too late. They're already in love with the house. They're
Well,
already.
to be quite honest, we're catching a lot of things now that we've moved in. We noticed that some of the doors don't work. Like, we didn't even know there was a door to the master bath because it's a slider and it was pushed in, and then we pulled it out. I was like, whoa, what is this? So, like, some of those things.
Don't worry, we'll take care of that for you.
But that wouldn't have stopped me from buying the house, ever.
Because you
But
can
I
fix
love
them.
those pocket doors are pretty cool. Unless you
You
have
don't see
small
them a lot
kids.
anymore.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Because they're expensive to put in,
yeah.
aren't they?
But that says a lot to what type of repairs we should do. Because if you love the house, you'd be more forgiving about the minor
Correct.
items, right? So,
Correct.
going back to your question, as far as what you should repair, the kitchen is a big ticket item. I think if the kitchen was outdated, you'd say, you know what, maybe this house isn't for me. But if the kitchen is fully renovated and there's other things that need repairs, it's easier to work with.
Maybe
So
we
let's-
bought wrong, though, because that kitchen needs
Yeah,
to
but
be completely-
you fell in love with the location. So
And
we
the bone
always
factor.
talk about
Yeah.
location,
You like
location,
you like the
location.
bones of the house.
And the two
I love the
swan
word,
that
the
swung
bones.
up. Wait.
What was that?
Came
The
there.
bones. When
I know.
realtors go, it has great
He
bones.
says-
That's great
Because,
bones.
I mean, I know.
No,
That's like a
we-
key word that
right.
we use, right?
Everybody
like a
uses,
buzzword.
yeah, the
Yes.
bones.
When we hear that, we're like,
Yeah, we start laughing.
I know. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But like, so when I mean, just
No, okay, it's not you. I'm just
But
saying.
when I walk
everybody's
into
like,
a
wow,
house-
it's just such great bones, and I'm
The
like,
bones could have
potential.
termite damage.
It has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
charming.
Yes.
You know, I just tell everybody, I'm like, look, you can take a crappy house that's in a great neighborhood and you can make it awesome. But you can't take a great house that's in a crappy neighborhood that you don't want to be in, and you can't. The house is already done. You can't move it. So I'd rather you buy the worst house on the block, but you love that block, and maybe do a kitchen this year and a bathroom next year, if you're going to live there, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
And do it over time, because location, and you're probably going to laugh because that's another
we
real estate
agree.
term.
Oh, we have an
Well,
episode on
location,
that.
yeah.
Oh no, location is everything. Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, exactly. Like, so you can do that. I'd rather you, like I said, I tell people this all the time. You can, if you find a house that's already done, you're paying a premium for somebody else's work.
Sure.
So if you can deal with the stress of hiring contractors and picking out tile and things like that, you can do this work yourself, probably less expensive, and customize it if you want to. But that's if you have the means to do it and you have the
So,
patience for it.
Let's talk about doing that work yourself. So how many situations have you been in where the homeowner that's selling did the work themselves and, let's say, didn't pull the proper permits? Has that ever come up as an issue with any of the sales that you've been involved in?
Not too much. I mean, sometimes for like a water heater or something like that. Towns are getting a lot more difficult to get the certificate of occupancy. So you have to get a CO or CCO when you close in the state of New Jersey. And they come in, and it used to be they'd come in and spend 30 seconds. They'd check a fire extinguisher and a smoke detector, and that would be it. Now, they'll come in. Like, I had somebody come in recently for an inspection, and he's like, I don't like the way this EV car charger is installed because it's not a lockout breaker or something like that. And so he made the electrician come in and fix it, like something as minimal as that. When it really, they're getting a lot more difficult because they want to justify. I think they want to.
So that's another
themselves.
reason to not be a do-it-yourselfer when it comes to electric, because the inspector is going to check it.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to fix it at some point anyway. So unless you're, a professional, you know what you're doing, and then that's one thing. But if you're just kind of figuring it out, they're gonna catch it. And when they do, you're going to have to fix it. Like, let's say you do your basement, or you move outlets, or you do something like that. Just do it the right way the first time, because otherwise you're going to have to open up that wall and fix it anyway at some point.
Right.
So have you ever had a basement issue where someone finished a basement without permits?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people finish their basements without
Oh,
permits.
absolutely.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you know what I see? I mean, you must see it a lot of the times when you go for a CO and they're like, oh, yeah, this water heater was installed without a permit. This unit was installed without a permit. And you catch it all the time. People they really think, this is the funny thing. They'll try to do it, sneaky behind the building department's back. Oh, well, we won't tell them we're going to do this. But when you sell eventually, you're going to have to pay for it anyway.
Right.
And then it comes in to be a problem. Oh, well, this wasn't done. And then they start checking, and they might check more than what they were supposed to, for the simple fact you already got caught being sneaky.
And what's
Now
a
we're-
permit for a water heater? Like $100?
$100.
Like, you're spending $2,000
$100.
on a water heater, $1,500 to spend the extra
Yeah.
$100.
$100.
And also, when they come in, I'll give you an example. I had some electric done. I had my panel upgraded and some things like that. I got a permit. I did everything the right way. I hired an electrician, and I owed him half the money. And that's the other thing. Like, you don't have to pay them the full amount until the end. And the electrician came in, or the contractor came in from the town. The inspector came in and checked it out and gave me a list of like 6 or 8 things that he wants changed.
Wow.
So the contractor hadn't gotten paid in full yet. So of course he came back, he fixed everything
Right away.
And he asked me, he's like, hey, when are you going to pay me? I was like, when I get the permit. When
Yeah.
when I close it out.
Yeah. well,
So by law in the state of New Jersey, it allows the homeowner the ability not to pay until
The final
until
payment.
final
Final-
inspection.
final
Now,
inspection.
obviously, but he makes sense because let's just say you paid him everything and you needed these 6 items done. I'm not saying he wasn't going to come back.
No.
But it might have took a couple days.
I would have been at the bottom of the list.
The motivation wasn't there, yeah.
Because they were focusing on the next guy. Now you're like, hey, listen, I need this done. He was probably there the next day.
He was there
banged it
very
all
quickly.
out,
He fixed it.
Called for inspection. Once you pass inspection, all right, fine. The city comes in. You're great. Here's your final payment. It's not that you want to hold payment.
No,
It's that you
but-
want to make sure it's complete because the entire terms was this was done by, inspection, permit passed, I can pay you.
And it makes sure that they do a good job.
Yeah.
Not saying all some contractors might try to find in like
Never Danny.
never.
Yeah.
No,
Never
there. I mean,
Danny.
not
No,
Danny. Danny's guys are great,
Yeah.
but there are
Guys are
people out
great.
there that are going to do it the cheapest way possible, and they're going to find like a way around it.
Yeah,
But
it's
if you
sad.
use a permit, that's a way of checking their work, in my opinion.
So
It's a way to
couple
protect
people-
yourself.
Exactly.
And I always say, always get a permit. Even when I used to do jobs years ago, guys would be like, "Oh, I don't need a permit." I'm like, I'm gonna pull out a permit because I feel more comfortable.
Got it.
Because how am I gonna bring an entire sheetrock truck in your home without anybody knowing? How am I dumping? People call. People are
do it.
curious. Oh,
People
wait,
do it.
I saw somebody working here. Do you know if they have a permit? They call the city.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why not do it the right way? I never, in my whole time, ever wanted to do anything without a permit.
So a couple people have questions about how much money they should be putting aside. So either how much money they should be putting aside if they are selling, or even should they be putting money aside to renovate after they buy, right? And you are the guru of formulas. I've sat in on your Find Fun Flip class and your BRRRR, your BRR class.
Formulas help.
What are there any formulas for what you should put into your home before you sell? Are there any give us the quick rules?
It's so subjective because it really depends on how much work your house needs, right? So, yeah, you should always have money set aside.
Is there a percentage of if you knew you were buying a home for let's say $500,000 or you're selling your home for $500,000, what would be your I'm not spending any more than this? And a couple of people are asking
Sure.
about that.
So I'll give you an example. When I first bought my house, this is over 10 years ago, the neighbor told me that I told the neighbor I'm going to spend at least $20,000 moving in, just doing basic cosmetics. And I thought that was a big deal. And he said that's the bare minimum you're going to spend. So $20,000, I've seen $20,000 to $30,000 be the bare minimum because you're going to have to come in, clean up, maybe refinish the floors, paint, very basic items. It will run you $20,000 to $30,000.
And if you're selling, then you're going to have more, right?
Depends on how many updates you'd like to do. But if you're selling and you have some major renovations, if a safe number is about 30,000.
Okay.
So let's talk about that. So number 2 on your list are bathrooms. So what should be updated in a bathroom? Do I need a tub? Can I have a stand-up shower? What do we need to change?
Sure. So my rule of thumb, and Danny can comment on this, Adam as well. If there's 2 bathrooms in the house, always have one with a bathtub, and the second floor I put a stand-up shower.
I was on Facebook the other day, and there was a debate going over whether you can say a full bathroom that it needs a bathtub. If it has a shower, it has a sink, it has a toilet.
That's a full bath.
That's a full bath.
Well, people on Facebook were adamant that you needed a bathtub
No.
to have a full bath.
Yeah, that's news.
Well, the people on Facebook may not have been educated.
It was
With their real
a
estate.
real estate group. It was a real estate
You want to
group.
post this
But
link in there?
Yeah.
Comment. Do you think we should have a full bath? But
I mean, it's funny. I love when people list the half a bath and it's the toilet in
Next
the
to the
basement.
washing machine.
Yeah.
I love that. Is
That
that
I've
a
seen.
quarter of a bath?
Yeah.
Because it's half a bath. That's not a half a bath.
no, it's a toilet.
That's literally
Just
a
like-
toilet.
It's a
next to-
toilet.
I can use
Whether
the
it's a
bathroom.
shower or a bathtub we've even installed. We did an old house in Prospect Park years ago too, and it was just a interior renovation. We did the baths. I didn't want to move walls, so usually bathtubs are 5 feet. We actually put in a 4-foot bathtub.
Wow.
Yeah, because they have them too, just in
Yeah.
because that's all that fit. The hallway would not allow us to put a 5-foot tub, but you know what? Like Adam and Omar said, you need that tub for people with small children.
Yeah.
Because now, let's just say you have only 2 stand-up showers and you plan to have children or you have 2 children, they're not buying that house. Unless
So
you
would you
do
say-
what I
That's a
saw on Facebook where they put a swimming pool. Did you see that? They put a blow up swim pool in the
As the
stand up
bathtub.
shower as a bathtub. Yeah, but people are
You could
not
do
doing
that. They sell baby tubs that you can
Yeah.
stick anywhere.
But you need a bathtub
Yeah.
if you have a child. You know,
Every house should
easier.
have, I mean,
At least one
generally,
bathtub,
When you're
right?
going to sell it, you should have at least one bathtub.
Yeah.
So would you say a rule of thumb based on how many bedrooms a house has, whether or not there should be a
I would say how
tub?
many bathrooms. If there's a bathroom on the first and second floor, one of them should have a tub.
Yeah.
And
If
I
there's
made the
only
mistake.
one bathroom in the house, it should be a tub.
It should be a tub, yeah. I made the mistake of adding 2 stand-up showers, and buyers commented on it saying that we need a tub.
But did you sell the house?
It sold, yeah.
Did you make money?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
It
it
will
would
sell.
Because you're
Maybe
Omar,
more.
though.
Yeah,
Maybe you could have made more money had you had a bathtub. Maybe you would have had more. Like who knows?
yeah,
Yeah,
more
it's,
buyers,
it's,
right?
you're opening it up to more people.
Exactly. So you never know what'll happen.
The dollar amount, I'm not so sure about, but it'll sell. House is renovated, it'll sell.
Yeah.
So what in a bathroom specifically do we need to worry about?
Based on the budget. So the bare minimum, if you have a very small budget, I would recommend reglazing the tiles. That goes a long way. Replacing the vanity, the toilet, the faucet, and the mirror.
So reglazing, like
The light.
spraying the tiles?
Yeah, there's that special tile reglazing spray, and it works really well. The only thing is it coats everything white, so you have to make sure that there's a theme, the color theme works.
You want to know something funny? That product has been on back order for a year.
Yes, it has.
I've
Wow.
been looking.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I was redoing an apartment that we had, and I'm in every Home Depot. I'm in Benjamin Moore. I'm in Sherman Williams. I think it's Zap, or I forget what's the
Yeah,
what I'm
it's like
talking
green
about.
cap
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. So they're on back order. You cannot find it because we have these older bathtubs that you just reglaze it. The kit is $67, $70. I mean, you really have to know what you're doing. You have to sand it down,
Yeah.
clean it up,
Yeah.
sand it down, clean it again, and spray it. But it looks like a brand new cast iron
Yeah.
tub. And you can also paint the tile. So a lot of these green or purple or
Pink.
pink bathrooms, I mean, you know, you have companies out there doing it, but it's expensive, $1,500, $2,000.
So is that a DIY project or is that something that,
That-
It
contractors
can be.
do?
It can be.
I didn't do my own, but it
You
can be.
you really have to have patience.
Yeah.
You really have to have, like, I mean,
And it
you have to
stinks.
tape. Yeah, it does. I mean, for
Because I tried that on a
Oh, you did?
on a vanity top. Something stained on it and like wouldn't come off, like it damaged the top.
Oh, did you?
So it was an inexpensive vanity top. So I said, you know what, for the bathroom, I was like, I'll just try it. So I got one of those kits and I tried reglazing it myself. And I mean, it doesn't look horrible. It's not my main bathroom. It's like my
But it
half
worked,
bathroom.
right?
It
It
worked.
yeah.
But if it was a nice bathroom, I would have hired somebody looking back. 'Cause
now, what was it? Is it an undermount sink? Do you have like granite on top, or is it
Yeah,
just okay?
it's an undermount
Well,
sink.
you can always pull the granite up
Place
and
it.
just change the sink out.
Yeah.
yeah. But I wanted to try it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was thinking,
Listen,
why
I've
not?
done
What is
I've
it?
done
It's
it
a few
years ago.
dollars.
They have porcelain. You have it's like this little liquid that you can fix the cracks on your
chips.
porcelain sink.
Resin.
So trust me, I've done it too, and I don't do this every day. I've did it, but I'm not so great myself. So
I mean,
we
there's
use
stuff
this
like that.
now. So
Like if I was redoing a bathroom and I was going to reglaze it, you can also reglaze the tub as well. Most of the time, things like that, I would just hire somebody. If you're looking, because otherwise it's going, in my opinion, unless you really know what you're doing.
So have you seen houses where that's just been
Yes,
such a disaster?
I've seen like they use like a regular paintbrush for stuff, and you see
wow.
the lines.
oh yeah.
Like things like that.
on like the master bathroom?
I've seen it in the kitchen, on the cabinets. I've seen it on bathroom tiles. If you don't know what you're doing, it looks like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
how
just-
You're
did the
supposed
buyers-
to spray these things.
So what were the buyers' comments?
Wow, that looks like crap.
Okay.
Essentially, like
They,
that
they
was
still buy the house?
no. Because think about it, if they cheaped out on that, if you give the
Then
impression
everything
that
else.
Oh,
exactly,
Then
they're
everything
gonna
else has been
now
cheaped
they're
out
gonna have
on.
in the back of their mind, what else did they cheap out on?
Yeah.
Right. So I always feel like if you're going to do it right, or just don't do it. So
Yeah.
if they see that you have 10 projects done and all the ones that were done high quality, and then rather than half-ass something, you just leave it because then they know that what was done in the house
Was done very
done
well.
with good caliber.
One thing I wanted to mention, and Adam too, I just don't understand when you see people list a home. I'm pretty sure that you point them into the right direction.
Of course.
But homeowners will list their home. You're like, all right, we're gonna go take pictures, but they won't even clean their home.
Yeah.
They leave it cluttered. So my first impression when I see a house online and it's cluttered, I'm like, wow, they never took care of that home. Because now you're gonna list it where the entire internet can see your home and you still don't care. So I imagine there's probably sink down, there's probably hair down the drains. They probably
you're going down there?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like as a homeowner, right? Those are
They're
things
gonna
you're
think
looking
they
for.
took bad care of the
Bad care
place.
of the home. Because it's like even the bedroom, it's like piled up, stacked. It just looks like quarters. I'm like, who would list that on the MLS?
And I've seen that a lot. And what I do a lot of times is I hire somebody to Photoshop it essentially and to digitally stage it. You have to let them know that it's digitally staged. But I can have people. You can have people remove clutter. You can have people add furniture, do all of this stuff. So you can take a bedroom and you can remove everything in there. But you have to let people know when they come in there.
It just says visually enhanced.
Yeah, visually enhanced.
And it's,
yeah.
it's
Visually
in size 3
enhanced.
fonts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barely.
Oh, you have to notify. You have to.
Of course, some MLSs require it now.
Oh, God.
I always think that a funny feature in the bathrooms is obviously everybody knows what a toilet seat is. Super easy, do it yourself, change your toilet seats. How many houses have you been in where the toilet seats look like they're destroyed?
And they have the foam on top that's cracked.
Like simple
And
update.
they're $15. You can get a Home Depot toilet seat for $15.
Yeah.
And it just
And it's
freshens up
two
the whole
screws.
toilet.
It's 2 plastic screws, and you replace them.
So
and
anyone
while
can
you
do
take
it.
it off, you could actually clean the toilet too. You know, because that's the first thing. Like,
People
if
do look
if
at
I'm
that.
in a house, you know, obviously we're not worried about the toys unless it's a cleanup or full gut.
Sure.
But you start to look at things, you're like, wow, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. How do you want people to see that
Yeah.
when you're, you know?
So, gentlemen, when does it just pay just to sell as is? Just forget it. Don't do anything. Don't bother yourself with it. Just this is what you're getting. Buy
That
it.
happens often. That's common, especially if the person is not DIY, do it yourself. You're DIY. So a lot of elderly people who want to downgrade or move to a different living arrangement, they sell as is, and it makes sense. Why would they bother upgrading the kitchen, bathroom, tiles, and everything?
Well, to make more money.
Yeah,
But
but
it's gonna
if you
cost-
have
How much
a
money does it
crappy
cost you?
bathroom and you just upgrade the kitchen, but
Yeah.
don't forget also people are going to want to come in there and they're going to want to make the kitchen their own or the bathroom their own. They might not want white cabinets. They might not want quartz. They might want granite instead or stainless. You know, there's different tastes.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just leave it as a blank canvas for somebody to come in and make their changes.
And that's where me and Danny come in, and we buy that.
I
And then you do that exactly.
I love doing the white kitchens. I would never have a white kitchen myself. I have like ivory mocha glaze.
That's what I got.
Because let me tell you, when I cook, my wife's like, I know when you cook. I see every cabinet. You know, you forget. You're a guy, right? You're cooking. You're like, oh crap, I need this, and you start grabbing it. Now those white cabinets
Are black.
Oh,
Yeah.
forget it. You know, I mean, it looks nice. If we had the old summer kitchens, and that's where I would cook, but I would never cook in these white kitchens.
Okay.
You know?
So where do you feel, guys, where there's more value? If you had to pick a kitchen or a bathroom, would you pick the kitchen over the bathroom? Which would you pick?
I would say the kitchen. I mean,
Yeah, 100% the kitchen.
because I feel like the bathroom, people could deal with it, unless it's like a small bathroom, you have to up it. But I would say the kitchen is where you spend most of the time when you have company over. You know, you guys, if usually in your dining room, but most of the food is in the kitchen.
Well, the kitchen is where your family lives too.
Yeah.
Whose family doesn't just hang out in the kitchen while someone's cooking, the other person is
I
sitting
hang out
there.
in the bathroom, so. Eric, you want to come over and hang out in the bathroom? I have the bottles of wine in there.
This is why we don't come over anymore. We always end up in the bathtub waiting there.
You're like, hey,
wine.
do we have to hang out in the bathtub again? I'm
Every
like,
time.
I have to throw this out here. First of all, everyone. First of all, if you're enjoying this conversation, if you want to hear more from
About bathrooms.
all of these amazing panelists, you're going to smash the subscribe. Smash it right now. Okay? And then also, I want to just pull our attention to this gentleman right here. He teaches 2 amazing classes. Find, Fun, Flip, which is our flipping and investing class. You both
Danny's on it.
are on Find, Fun, Flip. So I love Find, Fun,
I want to
Flip.
go live. Let's find Fun Flip live.
Okay.
Let's
Coming
do it.
soon
I
to a
would
theater
have-
near you.
But both of you guys
We are
on
live,
it.
but I meant in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should do an in person. I think it would be awesome.
All right, we'll talk about it.
The reason why I love this class is because it's taught by different people in the industry. Master flipper, construction consultant, hard money lender. We have a bunch of people coming into this class. It's every other month. You're going to find it at recareercenter.com. And then After you do the flipping one, you have to do the BRRRR one, right? Which is the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, right? That's your buying and holding. And again, Omar is a master at that. And so if you're looking for those ways to increase your money, to change your life, to become financially independent through real estate, you're going to go to recareercenter.com and you're going to take Omar's classes.
Or just have a fun project.
Yeah.
Could do that too.
Yeah. The BRRRR method, especially if you want to build a rental portfolio.
Yes.
Excellent way to do it.
All right. So, third biggest thing you said was like overall like appearance of your house. Well, give us some more details on what's the third thing.
You said the painting, the making sure everything is like neat.
Sure. So I would say similar to what you just mentioned. You liked the house, you liked everything about it, and you're willing to deal with the minor things. So I know that if I have a good house in a good location, the layout is nice, I don't have to fully do everything if I don't want to.
Okay.
I mean, generally I do it, but I would focus on the big ticket items. So I mentioned kitchen, bathrooms, and then I'll just make sure that the house shows well. So if they walk in and the floors are cracked, I don't want the floors cracked, so I'll do something.
So fix cracked tiles.
Cracked tiles, anything that, again, you want to have a good impression. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the main items should be repaired so that the person walks in and says, all right, well, within a
What
month
if
or
your
so.
floors suck? Because I looked totally at the floors. We
point.
have beautiful floors upstairs. They
Yeah.
had just redone the floors downstairs.
So what do you mean, how bad?
Like if your floors are just nasty.
Are they repairable nasty or are they
Replace,
Are they hardwood?
So
floors?
are they?
So this is a hypothetical place. Our floors, my new house has beautiful floors. But
Yeah.
hypothetically, if your floors are crappy, should you redo it?
Is it hardwood floors?
It really depends.
I mean-
Hardwood upstairs and then the linoleum downstairs, but I really like the color.
so I'll give you an example.
Oh, okay.
I recently sold a house to a friend, and it had beautiful floors, and they're still redoing them. And then I've sold homes that have not so nice floors, but they still bought it because it's something they could easily have redone.
Okay.
So would you say if
that's
it's
not
like a pergo floor or a laminate floor that's has water damage, how would you deal with that situation?
Depends on how bad it is. It really depends. Yeah. If
I
it's
think
pergo
also
or
depends
laminate,
on the
it's cheap.
condition of the rest of the house too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, laminate's cheap. So if it
But
has
again,
laminate,
our
it's
top
a
three
bad start.
things. So kitchen, bathroom,
And then overall cosmetics.
overall cosmetics. So
Yeah.
you just take a big picture of the situation of what the house is. You look at the wall. So if you have one wall that has Crayola crayon pictures all over from your kids, what do you do with that? Do you paint that wall?
I would definitely. That's an easy low-hanging fruit. So I would fix that. So
Magic eraser.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would imagine the person walking in, what their impression would be, and then try to adjust from there.
Okay. So
that
what about like
makes-
doorknobs?
Doorknobs, I would replace. I'd say low-hanging fruit. So why not?
The other thing that I see a lot of times I want to mention is never hide anything. If you have a leak or something like that, don't hide it. But let's say you had an old leak and the ceiling is stained from it. But it's an old leak, you fixed the leak, you just never fixed it. Paint over,
Yeah.
fix it.
Yeah.
Because people are going to
Yeah.
come in there and that's going to be the first thing they notice. And I'm not saying hide it. Like if there's an actual issue, fix the issue first. But once you fix it, just paint over it, cover it, clean it, do something.
Well,
And
that
it's
makes
so
sense.
simple. It's so easy.
It takes you 5 minutes.
It's usually in the bathroom, and it's just a small little water stain, and people just leave it because they're like, "Oh, we fixed the leak already." But like you said, paint it. They sell, with stain remover.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're not hiding anything. You never want to hide anything. God forbid you
It's
have.
going to come back to bite you.
Yeah, of course. Or you have small kids, or
Huh.
God forbid there's a leak. You don't want to sell a product like that to a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, unless you have the worst heart ever. But our intentions on these flips, and Omar will tell you,
Yeah.
we say it all the time. Make sure that you would put your own family to live in this home. It should be safe.
Right.
And that's why everything should be done by permits and the city.
And that's why there's certain things you do on your own, and there's certain
Yeah.
things you hire a contractor
Yeah.
for.
Well, just like you said, you want it to be overall. So if I walk into a house and I see that things are clean, taken care of, things look bright, and
Yeah.
then I'm going to say this person has taken that same level of care throughout the rest of the
Right.
house.
And the minor items, you'll add your own touch to it if you need to replace or renovate anything.
So what about like color schemes in house? So if I go into a house and if I'm going to sell my house and I have like beige or dark brown
Or wait a minute,
black or pink,
not to
Right.
say anything about my fiance's ex-wife, but what about tropical blue with like those plants
Palm
in
trees?
Oh,
yes.
my favorite color.
Tropical blue with palm trees
about the bathroom?
stenciled on the wall.
Okay, so what do we do with that? Is that
so-
something we should deal with?
Yeah, always keep neutral colors, earth tones. The gray box theme has a bad rep now because everyone started using it. So the latest color right now is Chantilly lace white, right?
So is that with a brownie kind of tint, or what kind of tint
It's
does
just
that have?
neutral
in it?
white. It's just
just
a
white
White
White.
with like
looking
an
white.
almondy.
Yeah.
I'll give a nice color.
use it in office
Benjamin
buildings.
Moore's Painter's White.
Uh-huh.
That too.
It's very. I mean, you really don't see the beige there, but it's more towards the beige than the gray. I think, like you said, everybody
Yeah.
played out the gray.
So
The
let's
gray
talk about the
was-
painting. Is that a DIY project or is that something you need to hire a contract for?
So
I mean, sorry. You want to go ahead?
no, go ahead.
I don't have the. You have to. Anybody can paint.
Yeah.
You have to have patience and time to paint. I have no patience.
I would think that's a DIY, just because
I would
I
not.
have
Not for me.
painted
Yeah.
in my 20s. I feel like I painted every single girlfriend's apartment. Like all of
You
my
probably-
friends, we painted their apartment.
Yeah, but what you think is easy. So I painted my son's room and I did stripes on the wall. I did this whole thing. And it was an absolutely horrible experience because I was doing this. First of all, I was doing it after work,
Right.
which most people would be doing. So I was doing it at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I had to do a few coats to get the colors right and to do the ceiling and the molding and the door and the frames. Next time I'm hiring.
Don't
somebody.
do it. Just
It
Next
took
time-
so long, and I'm a perfectionist. I wanted it perfect, but it took so long. It took like maybe a week straight of doing it every night because you have to wait till it dries in between to do if you're doing the stripes and if you're doing the
Yeah.
molding. You can't
Probably
do it all on top
cost
of
you
each other.
$600-700 if you hired someone, right?
Yeah.
But it's totally worth. Excuse me. Totally worth it to pay it now.
100%.
Yeah.
But so
I
that's an
wouldn't paint.
example with the stripes.
Even if it
Would
was
you do? But would you do stripes if you're painting to sell? Would you do stripes in
No.
your?
no. You're just.
this was an
gonna-
accent wall, one wall for the crib.
And this was for your son.
Exactly.
Right,
But yes,
for the
correct.
baby.
Going forward, if I was just painting to sell it, I would just do one solid color in the room. Maybe the molding was a little bit lighter or something like that.
So
and
an
that's it.
example, if you go to sell your house tomorrow, or should he paint over his stripes?
If they look nice, probably
No,
not.
because I have the crib there.
Yeah.
So if it was just an empty room, that's one thing. But I have furniture in there; it's being used, so it looks nice. It matches the feel of the room.
And when
So it
someone
gives
walks
them-
in, they're going to see their own nursery. in it.
Exactly.
And if they don't want the nursery, they could factor that into their paint costs.
And that's the other
Not a
thing
big deal.
I was thinking about earlier is, so I go into a lot of homes and there's thousands of pictures on the wall of their family, their grandparents,
Yeah.
and their
Take them down.
Some. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of taking everything down, in my opinion. Because think about it. So if you're selling single family, you're selling it to a owner occupant. They're coming in with their family. You want them to visualize their family there.
Yeah.
You don't want a wall like a collage of 1,000 pictures on the wall. But if you have a few pictures there, everybody loves going in there. They like seeing the family that was there before. They like because then it gives them a little bit of a
Good
like a
energy.
personal touch and good energy for the house. But also, if you do remove pictures, touch it up. If you have holes in the wall, touch it up.
Yeah.
Just get a cheap kit from Home Depot with the
And
little
it's so
hole.
What do you
simple.
do
They
when it
even-
leaves that mark that
You paint the wall.
Yeah,
you just have to paint?
yeah.
You
paint
can't
over
get.
it.
You can't.
I mean,
get away
most of the
with it.
time,
Okay,
depending on the color of paint, you could wipe it down with a
Duh.
rag and
Yeah.
water and soap.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Try to
I know
paint-
it's up.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
we've determined that the top three things: kitchen first, bathroom second, and then overall visual painting, fix doorknobs,
Yeah.
change light bulbs, fix flooring, stuff like that. So, what's an example, Adam, of like an absolute disaster where you could tell someone did it themselves and it actually took the value of the house backwards? Have you ever seen anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we've seen people that try to do things. Like I said, the kitchen, the painting. We walked in and there were you could see they painted over some nice wood cabinets, but instead of spraying it, which is what I think you should do, and we're hiring somebody to spray it, they used a regular Home Depot brush, and you could see the stripes, you could see the lines. So they took decent cabinets and made them worse. It would have been better had they left them that way.
So that's an example of now that buyer is looking at it as, oh my God, here's a major project I have to do, versus they could have.
Exactly. Had it had nothing on it, because now if you get somebody in there, now they're gonna have to sand it. They're gonna have to refinish it before they paint it, because now it has an actual texture to it. You can't just spray over that, because you're still gonna have that texture underneath. So that was one example of somebody that just did a horrible job on it. In that case, they should have just hired somebody.
Wow.
Do it right the first time.
Any examples on your end, Omar?
Yeah, plenty. I've seen DIY cases where homeowners tried to renovate the kitchen, paint the cabinets. It just looks really bad. And you can tell. So you won't get top dollar for it. The buyer knows. And of course, they compare it to other homes on the market. So I'm not a big fan of DIY at all. I wouldn't even paint my own house.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I still wouldn't
Yeah.
do it. In fact, I still have holes in my wall that I haven't repaired, but I'm okay with it.
Danny, what about you?
I'm the same way. I would definitely hire a professional. I mean,
But you are a professional.
You are a professional.
Well,
so
that's
what
the
to
thing.
give us an
And
example
you
of.
command all of these
But see, what
professionals.
but
well, you're saying if I was a homeowner, would I do it myself?
Yeah.
So
Even-
example is, what have you seen that someone has done that actually like, oh, I wish they didn't touch that because I would have paid more for this house if they had just left it alone.
One thing that drives me crazy is, let's just say when they redo the entire house, people are still doing the windowsills. Windowsills are done. They're gone. It's a thing of the past. Everything is picture frame molding in the windows now. But people still, you have some contractors that think it's automatic that you have the windowsills. I think it's a cheap look. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
The old windowsills
Yep.
at the bottom of it. You know, it's picture frame. And that's one of the things. I mean, it's not a hard thing, but people look at it and they're like, wow, I really don't like that. It's not a big fix. It's not, you know, but people automatically assume and they walk away from the house for that simple fact.
Because they don't like the lack of the windowsills.
Because everything, I mean, most of the time, I mean, a lot of people open their windows, some don't. I never open the windows really, maybe once or twice.
What's the purpose of a windowsill? To put your elbow on it?
I don't know. I really don't understand what the, you know, or just to sit outside and
Yes,
just,
and
you know,
stare.
It gathers
But-
dust.
Now
I
that you
don't know.
mention it.
that's
Right.
all it is. It gathers dust,
Yeah.
or maybe people assume that they buy curtain blinds that are 90 inches long and they have to sit on the window. So I don't know, and you see some kind, like I've done apartments where I'm like, all right, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that. All right, turn it around, and I come in and they do the windowsills, and I'm like, why would you do
You
that?
said I never said that.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But that's how some contractors are. Some, you know, just some workers. Guys automatically assume you put a windowsill because that's what they might have seen
Got
in
it.
their country or
And
whatever.
you mentioned blinds. Sorry, you mentioned blinds. You know, that's the other thing. Like, yeah, you can go like Hunter Douglas. You can get really expensive blinds. But if you're just looking to sell your house, just don't go too crazy with that. You're not going to get, in my opinion, you're not going to get that money back.
And
If-
people rip it down if they don't.
Exactly.
Like
So
it.
just if you want to put something there to show privacy, put some inexpensive blinds in or curtains or something like that. People don't really like. I don't see curtains a lot of.
I just
As I
want
used
to,
to.
Charles had a question, and I just want to get to that before we wrap it up. Charles wanted to know, does it pay to leave a backup generator? But then I just want to know, to follow on that, is there anything that you should be leaving in the house that's going to
Well, a
make
backup generator that's hooked up to the house is
Yeah.
a great
Are you talking
feature.
about like a?
Oh,
So
yeah.
is
that's-
that going to
yeah.
raise the
Oh,
value if you
absolutely.
leave? What other things
Everyone
can
would
you
love a
leave
back.
that-
I mean, I would.
Right.
Everybody, especially during the hurricanes, or you might live in an area where there's a lot.
So
of
that's
power
something
outage.
that might.
The
If,
power.
if your house doesn't have air conditioning and you
Mm-hmm.
put big window units into the walls instead of into the windows, that's something you would leave.
Okay.
Even if you
Yeah.
put them in the windows, they're relatively inexpensive. If you have to get a few more, you know, if they're already installed, leave them.
And
sometimes.
hopefully the place that you're going to is updated.
or you just
Right.
yeah, you
Yeah,
just,
depends
it's
on the
$100,
situation.
$100, $200 each.
Perfect.
I think a big situation to look out for is make sure that whatever renovation that you're doing actually fits the house. So if you're doing an old pre-war townhome, which has all the beautiful moldings and the beautiful bathroom tile and the old school fixtures and everything in there is old school, leave it that way. Don't go out and change the kitchen from old school to modern.
Right.
If you're going to do a modern feel for the inside of that house, you have to do the entire house, and you have to do it top notch so it matches the outside. So just make sure you're looking at the big picture and make sure that whatever renovation you does fits in there.
On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Danny, thank you. We love Danny. We just love having you on. We want you on all the time. And
Again, top three.
kitchen, bathroom, overall beauty.
Overall spruce up. And again, if you visualize it, you can own it.
You can.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.